So today we have Gerry from Gerry's Metaverse, which used to be branded as Futureverse Pod. Welcome, Gerry. All right, so how's it going? Do you want to tell us a bit about the name change and the why behind it and what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, no worries. So, about a month ago, I guess, I put a tweet out sort of saying, should I change the name of my channel? Just because initially when I first started, obviously I was trying to signal that I was going to be creating Futureverse content. People were actually a little bit confused, thinking that it might have been part of the official comms at times. And so I thought I better check, just do a vibe check with the community itself to see what people thought. And it was pretty well split down the middle. But Shara actually mentioned on a tweet, maybe that's a good idea. And then I had a bit of a quick chat with her, and she revealed that they're basically going to be starting their own podcast. And I'm guessing it's probably going to be called something simple like the Futureverse Podcast. So it sort of made sense to rebrand at that point. And I guess it sort of also gives me, a bit more freedom to look at other projects because, over the next 12 to 18 months, the distinction between what a Futureverse project is and something that's just using the Futureverse stack is going to get more and more blurry. And it won't make as much sense to sort of signal that something's a Futureverse thing versus something that's just an open metaverse project.
Awesome. Yeah, it's kind of exciting to see that because one difference between the Futureverse and other popular layer one solutions that have come out recently is on those solutions, there's more of a time where there's access for people that are not associated with the project to build on top of it. And right now we're talking about the layer one launching without the access for random people to do anything with it. So it seems much more curated for now. So it will be interesting to see how it gets to that next step from being curated to being open.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, especially once they allow the sort of the community funding and the grants and all that sort of stuff to go out. Obviously, there'll be a lag time, but I've heard that there's lots of people that are sort of eyeing off getting onto the Futureverse stack, and once they see how effectively all of the inbuilt games that the Futureverse have been working on, how well they all work, that'll be a pretty clear signal of the power of the technology stack. So that should be good.
Awesome. And furthermore, we also went through a similar thing. We used to be called FLUF World Community Spaces, and when
there's a lot of different formats of the logo, so yeah, it's interesting seeing how it's all used and whatnot, but it's definitely important to use it in the right places, I guess.
So usually we start with current events, but because Gerry is like the leading content producer, I wanted to just let Gerry say, what has been happening recently in the Futureverse ecosystem, and what are you looking forward to in the near future?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, a lot of news just dropped with the monthly newsletter going out, so there'll be plenty of juicy content to cover there. But for me, probably just the launch of the Root Network itself, I think it's going to be completely game-changing just with the way that they've designed everything. To have a full layer one blockchain that 25% of the tokens go to a community treasury. It might not be obvious now, but in a couple of years' time, once this thing has network effects, that's going to be like a whole new take on blockchain, and it's going to be really interesting to see how all that plays out. And you can see already, like even with the mintage drop, which is happening right now, you've got people from other NFT communities going through that same onboarding process that we just went through with the Next Legends last October, where they're getting emailed now saying your spot in the queue is up. Go and mint your pass, or mint your Sean Wotherspoon trunk, and that'll probably get minted onto the Ethereum blockchain. But the utility side of it is going to be on root, at least initially. So those guys from all these other PFP communities are going to be incentivized to bridge across their trunks and their wearables to start dressing avatars on the root network. So it's just another way that they're onboarding people, even within Web3, over to this new network. So it'll be interesting to see how well that's accepted. I'm expecting there will be some pushback from the sort of Ethereum OGs and the more sort of ETH maxi focused people, but we're not really trying to sort of onboard them as a priority, but it is good that they're starting there, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. It is going to be interesting to see, at what pace the root network opens for business and what kind of adoption it gets and from whom. Like, is it going to get adoption from the crowd that tries to search for where they can go to earn money for testing things out? Like, there's a whole crowd that goes testing different layer 1s and layer 2s and does a bunch of activities that they are designed for airdrop farming. So they speculate on what things they can do to earn an airdrop for a specific token or project that they're expecting to launch in the future. That's like a significant crowd out there that is targeted by different layer 1s that are starting that it doesn't seem that the Futureverse is yet going after. So there's a bunch of different crowds that they can go after. Like, one is that, 2 is the primary Ethereum NFT crowd, 3 is the NFT crowd that searches beyond Ethereum. So most of them are on Solana and Arbitrum and all kinds of other smaller chains for NFTs. And then in addition to that, there's the hardcore NFT maximalists that have made all their money on Ethereum. And then there's people that like interact with FIFA, for example, or potentially with other brands that might become a partnership with the Futureverse. So there's so many different groups of people that could be targeted. It's just a matter to see, number one, who will be targeted and how will that go.
Even the ones that don't exist yet, technically. The people that don't really have any exposure that, will be onboarded through, different experiences and, things that they're, custodied wallets and that sort of thing, not as aware of. I think it's important to realize that's a big target market for us.
Probably the target market, really, I'd say. That's probably, 99% of the focus is on those people that don't even have an NFT or a crypto wallet. So being able to use like a Web2 interface in just a normal website and being able to onboard via your webmail, I think that's it's a really nice point of friction to remove. And you've seen things like NBA Top Shots even a couple of years ago blow up because it had that basic way for people to access the infrastructure underneath it all.
Yeah, and one point back on mintage, I saw that they, I think, gave whitelist to like 10 KTF and some other communities, but I'm not sure like the whole list or anything. But I just thought it was cool seeing the 10 KTF get whitelist and, just collaborating with other people doing kind of similar or interesting things in the space, and how many people they've been able to bring on their spaces in terms of like big name guests and stuff has been really cool. So excited for that drop.
Yeah, that's happening right now, basically. So they're at that stage where the whitelisting is happening and people are slowly coming across and minting more of them. There's only been about 240 minted so far, but right before this space started, I was on a mintage one that had only been going for about 10 minutes, And Nick Adler was sort of giving up a little bit more details of what we can expect, and is sort of indicating that there's an awful lot that they've already built on the root network that will be sort of utility that we'll be able to expect pretty much as soon as we can start bridging stuff across. So that would be really cool to see. And they've also mentioned that there's a lot of physical items that they're working on. So I think they're basically taking retro vintage tees and then putting mintage signage on top of them, and whether that's something that's for sale or another value add for holders remains to be seen. But I had heard rumors that there's also a 10KTF collaboration coming as well.
It's an interesting value proposition that I think is a little bit hard to understand at this point for the majority of people that are currently in Web3, because right now Web3 for the most part is people talking on Twitter with profile pictures, not people interacting in like a metaverse type of world. So the concept of clothing in the metaverse is something that seems very futuristic to many and not something that they can participate in today.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. It's a little bit like Metaverse land. A lot of people sort of are sitting on it and holding it and waiting for that utility to catch up. But it sounds like with what they're going to be doing really soon, and what we'll all be able to start showing when we start flexing our, mintage clothing on our party bears and our fluffs, that might be, that first sort of use case that people can start to see as to how some of this comes together. And, knowing the Non-Fungible Labs team, I'm sure they've built other experiences around these. So it's much more than just a digital bit of clothing. There'll be other parts to it as well, I'm sure.
Interesting.
It was really cool seeing the kind of the fly through of the jacket, where like almost like a mushroom forest kind of thing on, I think it was posted on Twitter as well. I thought that was really cool, seeing like some animations, and I think there was a couple of like Nick and Sean like walking through different environments as like themselves in different clothing, which I thought was pretty cool. Really cool they're really pushing the animation and the 3D aspect and rigging and all that, I guess you'd call it, mocap type stuff. They're really pushing the limits on that kind of thing.
That team definitely has a lot of connections. They're able to get very big names into the Twitter spaces. I still am wondering if it's a little early for a clothing company in Web3, but there is artifacts, so there is a history of it being a thing.
Yeah, I think one of the angles that Nick and the team are working on is almost trying to be that sort of mintage as a service, where they're going to show that the tech infrastructure works based on everything that the Futureverse team's built in the back end, and then leverage those sort of in real life fashion and music personalities and networks that they have to see if they can start onboarding other artists. I know they had Beeple on the other day, and Nick was saying, hey, we'll have to get a Beeple ink done. So even though Beeple's not a clothing guy, he might create an ink with a few ink types that you can then sort of fuse into your mintage clothing, just as another way to unlock, new functionality, new artists, and hopefully they can sort of become that brand and help onboard people through the Web2 side, because it's backed out by StockX apparently. So you might start seeing digital collectibles pop up on StockX, and again, people can onboard with their Gmail, and the next thing they know, they're on the root network with a Futureverse account.
Yeah, I think a major part of our value prop across all of Futureverse is like making the tech invisible and making sure that the experience and the value that people are getting out of it is there. But yeah, making the tech invisible is a major piece of that. The user experience is at the front of the mind.
I want to invite anyone in the audience that wants to participate in the conversation to join the stage. Another thing that has been interesting of late, or has been talked about a lot, is artificial intelligence, especially with the success of ChatGPT and now Google and Microsoft making announcements that they have products that are coming to market soon. And on top of that, we've seen a lot of volume for different artificial intelligence altcoins. And one of those is in our ecosystem. We have an artificial intelligence brand with an associated coin. What do you guys think about this trend? Is it something that is lasting? Is it a fad? Are you excited about it?
Yeah, I couldn't be more excited. I think it's definitely the future of the world, I guess you could say, and it'll only get more adopted. So, definitely cool seeing things pick up and all that. Definitely still early, and will be awesome to see a lot of the protocols in action. And I think especially once that kind of thing starts happening, you'll see a lot of attention get picked up on the AI end of things. But yeah, definitely a narrative and an important one. So, Gerry, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's maybe a little bit of a, it's a hot narrative right now. So it's having a little bit of a pump across the board. A bit like when Facebook rebranded to Meta, all the gaming tokens and Metaverse tokens flew. So I don't know if it's just having a moment with that trend, but certainly in a few months, I think we'll start to see the utility side be a lot more tangible, especially once we start seeing the FIFA AI League and the next Legends, and maybe even Atom with Burn Down and stuff like that. Once all that's there, it'll become a lot more clear and obvious as to what's going on. And when that happens, you will start seeing other collaborations come through, I'd say, and they'll have to come and buy up, Asto Energy basically to mine brains, and then you can start to see it become a bit more of a sustainable model. But at the moment, I think it's just a bit of a hype pump with all the AI tokens.
Yeah. It's kind of funny to see people all of a sudden making memes for Asto that are just like the type of people that make memes for shitcoins. So I don't know how I feel about that.
I got to give it to him though. Some of them were really, really funny.
It's definitely funny. I wonder if it will, be something that leads to more people to find out about the protocol and get excited about it, or if it's mostly just people trying to speculate on the word artificial intelligence, similar to when people speculate on, the word meta or metaverse. And, we see all kinds of hype trends that don't last, and it's much more rare to see something that does last. And it's not like the big artificial intelligence companies like OpenAI or Microsoft or Google have like a Web3 token associated with them. So they're not investable. So people that want to invest in artificial intelligence might be grasping at straws for the most part. I mean, obviously you can invest in Google or Microsoft. They're publicly traded, but I guess they have large market caps, and artificial intelligence is only a portion of their business model.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to just understand like the use case of it all. Like Google's not trying to do what we're doing really. Neither is like ChatGPT or Midjourney or any of those tools. It's we're kind of in this same pool of AI, but not really swimming in the same lane, if that makes sense. Definitely different use cases there. So, a lot of people look at that and they think, oh, like everybody else is so ahead, but it's really just a whole different ballgame for what each other are doing, I guess.
I wonder if anyone or some good content creators have gone through the list of artificial intelligence tagged tokens that are part of this, I guess we could call it a hype pump, and like did some analysis on what each of them does and what it is. That would be interesting, because it's not just Asto, it's a basket of them.
Yeah, maybe we can get Schiller to do that for us. He seems to be across a lot of the other tokens and games out there.
That sounds like a great job for Schiller.
I do not see him in the crowd today.
We should probably talk about the Probably Nothing as well. Maybe go over some
for
of that
it.
stuff.
I read it. I didn't see anything that stood out to me as particularly new. It was more of an update on existing items that we're expecting. Did anyone have a different thought?
Well, there was the live stream, so we do know that will be on the 17th, as if that all goes to plan. And
I also got to meet a member of the team, Jorge Valle. That's exciting. It's great to know some of the people that work on the team, because when people say the team is over 300 people, that can sound like just a number unless you meet the different people on the team. And there are a bunch of team members that are like former community members, or like current community members, I guess, such as Somnium and Richie Rich in the audience, and many others. But it's cool to meet more and more people that are working on the team, because at this point, a big majority of them are unknown to the community.
Looks like we also know now that Undead Buzzies are next. That's pretty cool. Looks like we got some info from Jesse about the creative design of Buzzies, and how each one of them is kind of unique. Thought that was interesting. Always good hearing from Cerno. What else here? Looks
The
like
silo competition is ending now at the end of February. It's gotten extended.
Yep, we've got that going till the end of February. We want to make sure everybody can have enough time to get their entries in.
By the way, I see Drop Bear in the audience, and we had an opportunity to see a sneak peek of what he's been working on, and it's very impressive.
Yeah, there's been some kick-ass animations coming in, so I think there's going to be some great competition and some awesome community-generated content. So excited to get that one finished and see who wins. Looks like Community Spotlight also has Snap to the Futureverse on there for that competition. So they've got Snapchat filters that everybody should enter the competition for. Make sure you're using IP that you own. Don't be filming maybe content of other movies or things like that. Try to make it some original content.
And that competition is live for another 6 days or so?
Yep, I believe so. What else? They got a little Next Legends update. Looks like it's going well. They're going to be releasing the locker room. Doesn't really have a timeline, obviously, but cool to see that we'll have an environment to interact with. I also think I saw a leak of it in the Atom Garage. And there's a Gods and Goblins themed Atom Garage. That looks pretty cool. So we got Mintage obviously is going on today. I think we've got 2 days until the free drop. Good security refresher there. I think that's good to definitely read into and make sure that everybody's up to date on their security. Always scammers out there, so everybody stay vigilant. And then meet the team of Jorge. That was really cool seeing a blurb about him. Looks like he worked for Avatar, Lord of the Rings. Was a designer in the Dubai 2020 World Expo. It's pretty cool. But yeah, he's our 3D modeler.
Do you have an opportunity to talk to a lot of people that work behind the scenes that the community wouldn't be likely to know about?
Yeah, I try to make an effort to reach out to people across different teams and get to know some people. We've got some tools internally that in Slack that are kind of, I think it's called Donut or something, and you can basically, it'll introduce people across different orgs, or just kind of randomize meeting people that sign up for it. so that you can kind of get prompted to like spend time with that person, like talk to them, and like it prompts you with like topics and things like that, which I think is really cool and a good tool to use internally to get to know people, because there's quite a lot of people, and we're always growing, so it's important to, I think, cross-pollinate in a way and talk across projects and kind of be aware of what each other are doing and how it all fits together, and just getting to know people better. It's been really great team building and community building and events and stuff going on internally. So
I'm a big fan of icebreaker activities. Always have been.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those in a way.
Gerry, what's your opinion on icebreaker activities? Is that a thing in Australia?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've only really worked in one place basically my entire career, which was a NASA deep space tracking station with about 100 people. So you kind of knew everybody inside out like they were family. So to be honest, I'm not really sure.
I come from an accounting background, and in public accounting, there's a very fast turnover. Like, people on average only stay for a short period of time, and every 2 times a year there's a massive amount of new hires. So ice-breaking activities are like very much a thing. So I've become a big fan of them. So I thought of an idea for a show. I don't know how possible or doable it is, but the concept is have maybe 10 people that work at the Futureverse commit to this and just do icebreakers on a Twitter Spaces. I don't know that we can get that many people to do that, or if that's actually realistic, but that would be fun.
I'd be down.
For now, I would just settle for anyone from the audience coming up to talk. Gerry, what other content can we talk about so our space isn't wildly boring?
Probably the one thing that I thought was pretty significant in the last sort of week and a half was the Blocktone's merger with the Hume Collective. So that's something that looks pretty interesting to me, and I've got a sort of a gut feel that all of this stuff that they're building out is going to be based on the Futureverse stack as well, which will be really interesting to see that evolve. Now, it might be on Ethereum, but I have a feeling that it probably won't be, especially with the way that they're sort of trying to extend out to a broader market where they're encouraging artists to come and basically mint their own Blocktone and start using that as a sort of primitive to build music around and incubate new metastars through the Hume Collective. So that could be quite interesting. And if that's all just done through a Web2 interface, through a web browser, again, people won't need to have MetaMask or anything like that, and they'll be able to get onboarded that way as well.
Yeah, it's definitely cool that there are a lot of projects that are connected to the FLUF World ecosystem and some of the niches right now that have a potential to become bigger, like music NFTs or fashion NFTs or gaming NFTs with Noor and others. So a lot of different verticals that this team is attacking. Should we hear from some of the new people that graciously joined us?
Got Mo Meta first, and then we'll go to, I think Puffer was next, and then Thor. If you guys want to, feel free to rotate around. What's going on?
Sounds good. I mean, are you guys cool for an invitation to come up? Man, I'll come up and say hi.
Appreciate you.
Of course. Now, one thing I'm really interested in is Jeff's recent conversation around auto blockchain. It's no secret that I am heavily, should we say, integrated into the traditional finance side of digital assets. So whenever I hear about these blockchains that can basically custody and interoperate with different digital assets out in the space, I found that fascinating. I know that Gerry put it up on his YouTube channel, and I was wondering if Gerry's got any more information about it or what his thoughts are on it.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Good question. it's actually quite topical. My next video that I'm working on is actually on Otto. So I'm trying to wrap my brain around all the white paper, and they've got a lot of kind of decent high-level educational resources within their Discord. But there's definitely lots of exciting stuff to come from them. And I think because DeFi is not very sexy to most people, and to be honest, a lot of our community have been more content focused around the NFTs, that a lot of this is sort of not really clearly understood. And I think this is a bit of a sleeping giant in its own right because of the way that this thing's been designed. So really quickly, it's designed to be like a KYC compliant blockchain for financial services, which basically, a lot of people will feel that that's sort of counter to Web3's kind of ethos. But when you're seeing what's happened recently with centralized exchanges and, people basically losing their life savings because they've trusted these third parties with their funds, it just screams that we need something like this that governments can buy into and endorse and allow to happen with, sound regulations around it, but to also have that freedom of movement of money, basically, and of assets. So Otto is really, really interesting to me, and I can't wait for it to spin up because my background has actually been more DeFi related. I was one of those airdrop farmers you were alluding to earlier, chasing the whole DeFi wave through DeFi Summer back in 2020, and that's been a big part of sort of my background. So there's just some really, really interesting things that they're building into this that make a lot of sense. And I can see it's definitely going to take probably several years to grow, but I am really excited about it.
It does appear to be one of the missing pieces in what the Futureverse is rolling out at the moment. Obviously, they've got their own custody solution, and we've got the central pass, central pay, immersive, and all of that. Now, this is a DeFi element to it. How do you think they're going to roll that up inside the Futureverse, or is it going to stay separate as its own blockchain? What do you reckon?
So it's going to be a shard or a world chain or an optimistic parachain, as Aaron's called them, en route. So that's one point I'm quite confused about, is how the economic incentives work around it, because there are other tokens involved, not just root. So that will be interesting. And I'm guessing Jeff will probably clear that up in the coming weeks. But this will be a shard that's deeply integrated into root and to the Futureverse stack. And because of those other technologies you just mentioned, Mo, things like Central Pass and Central Pay. So Central Pass is going to be able to link your identity, and you'll be able to use that sort of freely across the root network, but your assets could actually be locked up in a custodial service that's insured on Otto. So I'm really hopeful that soon we'll be able to start bridging our assets, not just to root, but maybe natively onto Otto, where you can leave them and feel sort of safe and protected and they're insured. But from a utility standpoint, they're already on the root network. You can still do everything you would normally do. They're just being stored by a trusted custodial that's insured, and apparently one of the biggest services around for traditional finance as well. So heavily regulated, and they're not going to risk their reputation by losing some NFT assets or whatever. So you should be able to sleep quite soundly at night, but still unlock all the utility of DeFi around those assets.
Yeah, because I remember he spoke quite highly of ADA, Cardano, in his latest live show. And I thought that was really interesting, because there's a huge addressable market out there in the traditional crypto industry that aren't concerned about when the burrows go live or the NFT side of it. They're very much interested in the protocol layer and the tokens that run behind the scenes. And we've seen how well Asto's done lately. So I think, as I said, it's a massive addressable market that is more interested in being early than saying, when do I get to run around inside my burrow? So hopefully we can see that opportunity soon. Hey, great answers to my questions. Thanks, Gerry. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I guess the other thing that Otto is also going after is the actual institutions themselves that have been itching to get into Web3, but basically due to all the risks and the issues that we've had, especially with regulation, they haven't been able to. And, it's not going to be a deluge of money. It's going to be a slow growth over time as the tech proves itself to be reliable and secure. But that's a huge market, like much, much bigger than, Web3 in itself. If you start getting, institutional money and, 401ks and super funds, as we call them in Australia, your retirement funds, that sort of thing, just trying to get a little bit of exposure to crypto, but in a safe way that's not using a Binance or an FTX. That's pretty enticing, and it's pretty complex technically. So, you know, they're gonna have to prove themselves over time, but it certainly is exciting.
And now a quick word from our sponsors that make the show possible. Are you building something cool in Web3? And would you like to get in front of the eyes and minds in one of the most engaged and loyal communities around, the FLUF? Well, hit me up on my Twitter DMs, as the channel is now seeking its first round of official sponsors. Alternatively, you can support my Patreon, or you can buy me a coffee. Oh shit. But if your liquidity is also run dry, fear not, because there's some things you can do for free, and it all makes a difference. You can hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, and share this with your friends. I'd really appreciate it, and it helps support the channel. So with all that out of the way, let's get back to the show.
Awesome. Let's hear from our next participant, Pufferfish.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Good
How's it going? I'm reading all this probably nothing. This is awesome, man. I love this month's episode. It's really chock full of stuff. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I got a knocker. I'm on Max Insomnium's show. I'll have to charge it later. Okay, baby girl?
Hey,
don't
What
understand.
was your favorite piece of
They
it?
don't know.
What did you like to know?
They're not for the cause. They don't know the sacrifice. But okay. Yeah, it's an amazing voice to follow. I'm always after Mel Meta. Be like, I gotta get on my Vegas voice. Good evening, everybody. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for a top 5 if you guys will indulge me.
let's
We
get
will.
it.
Wait. First, favorite part of the Probably Nothing. Which one did you like the most? What piece?
Oh, okay, I don't have a. See, I have something that's distracting me. I'm cherry picking at a sentence. It's like we're giving away a scene to everyone who bridges their FLUF or party bear. I don't see 4 each. I'm curious if are we getting a packet for each thing we bridge or each wallet? So I'm distracted by that.
Here's my guess. And then I would like to hear what Gerry thinks, and then anyone else on the stage can also share their opinion on that sentence. So there is a component of the Futureverse white paper that talks about digital identity. And there's not even an acronym for it, but I don't want to misquote that. But I think the concept that I'm expecting, and this is like not, do not take this as fact. This is opinion. But my opinion is that you'll set up an identity as part of setting up your root network self. And that being said, whether you have 1 wallet or 2 wallets or 100 wallets, you can set it up under one identity. And each identity then could be eligible for one of the scenes, as opposed to, like, you know, if I have 100 things, I get 100 scenes. That wouldn't make any sense. And some airdrops are more advantageous for the small player than the big player, and some are, you know, kind of equal, and some could be even thought of as more advantageous for the big player. Like the examples of the small player winning were the Weta guns, where if you minted like 99 seekers, you got 3. If you minted 1 seeker, you got 1 gun. So there was a skew for the smaller participants. And I think this is in that category. There have also been things where there's a 1-to-1 claim for your assets. So there's a mixed bag. And I think this one is trying to, everyone that participates by setting up a digital identity gets one, no matter the size, if they have 1 asset or 1 million. There aren't 1 million.
Gotcha.
But Gerry, what do you think?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Max. I think originally I was just assuming that, every fluff and bear would have access to that scene, but maybe you're right. And I guess the other element is there's the red packet itself. So maybe that's another mechanism to sort of skew things towards the smaller individuals to help encourage them and give them a bit more of a leg up in the ecosystem. So it might be, sure, there is one-for-one backgrounds, but maybe whatever else is in that red packet, maybe it's more root tokens, maybe it's some other asset. That might be another way also to sort of even the playing field a bit. So this doesn't just become a whale game.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I imagine it might be I get the feeling it's going to be like some starter pack. Like, here's some honey, here's some moon rocks, like a whole bunch of in-game currency. That's just my guess. It's based on nothing. I pulled it out of my butt, but just something like that to get us all excited. Like, everyone gets airdropped a tiny drop of something. Just you have to start with, just like we got some moon rocks. So maybe moon rocks isn't in the way.
I think the biggest two things that this ecosystem needs is, number one, to have good systems that are provably good, like they're actually available for use and people can do it and be like, okay, this works. That's one. And number two is adoption. So to the extent that they can incentivize, they should incentivize for adoption to get more people using it and get those people to be using it, weekly or more often than that.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see in this red packet if it's the real start of the whole play to learn dynamic. So, anyone who bridges across from the first time, whether it's through, the FIFA AI League, through Mintage, through just the bridging and what we're doing now, maybe like Puffer was saying, it's a starter pack, and perhaps you get your first root tokens, and then you go through some sort of gamified education that shows you how to delegate that to a validator. So you can start participating in proof of stake and earning yield, things like that. I know they've been sort of working on all of this stuff in the background. So, they want to hit the ground running with helping people upskill and show them the value proposition of why we're even talking about blockchain and what it's all here for and what it's about.
Yeah, they're going to do something smart and gamified, regardless what it is. We know their style. It's not simple and dumb. They like to do some clever drops for us, which I think everyone appreciates.
Yep, they like to take their time and do things in a way that is viewed as intelligent, useful, and well thought out.
Yeah,
and well executed. So without further ado, let's hear our top 5.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Tonight's top 5 segment is sponsored by Top Gun 3. Paramount Pictures presents Top Gun 3, The Hunt for the White Balloon, coming to theaters this summer. Tonight's top 5 list, the top 5 signs you are trading too much. There's a lot of volume in January. You may be overtraded. Here are some signs you may be trading too much. Number 5, you accepted a bid on your NFT, but you were the high bidder on your other wallet. Wah, wah. Number 4, you argue with yourself in public about earned moving averages. Number 3, you wake up at 4 a.m. because you're whitelisted on a crypto dick butts derivative free mint. Number 2, when people speak to you, you ignore every word because you're busy drawing Elliott waves with the freckles on their forehead. And the number 1 sign you are trading too much. You died from a heart attack when the market dumped and your ghost tried to buy the dip. Well, that's my ride. Hold on a second. I gotta pay this guy. Hold on 1 second.
Hey, I have another thing to add to the list. When you're buying these open editions that are getting like hundreds of thousands of buys during the 24-hour or however long the period is, and flipping them for 0.0001 ETH profit each. That's a thing.
Hey man, money's money. You want to be out there digging ditches, or you want to be sitting at open sea smoking a joint?
Ayo, I can't hate it, but it is happening right now, and it is hilarious to me. I mean, if it works, it works.
Listen, everyone in this world, we all have to play our part and work and pull together to contribute to this earth. And some of us, that means staring at open sea all day.
Or blur.
While on the topic of the open mints, I just thought I'd mention there actually is one tomorrow for Hume Genesis, Angel Baby, and Rio Craystar holders. For anyone in the community that wants to get in on another free mint, open edition. There's one starting in, I think, 14 odd hours. So that might be one for the collectors out there.
And Som, did you get your Flufftopia mint through on time? Did that all work out for you?
That was not in my wallet, but maybe somebody else's. But hey, it looks like they rebranded, so good on them.
They stepped off, which is all they had to do. You know, just move out of the way and don't rug like our name. That was it.
Yeah, I think, we're not trying to like shut down anybody's fun or anything. Like, do whatever you want to do. But I think, naming it that closely and people coming into our Discord having to ask about it and thinking it's the same thing and confusing it for the same thing is kind of a problem. And obviously we own the trademark, so might as well use it.
Pufferfish, they are cute though.
Hey, they are cute. Midjourney is a powerful tool.
Thank you. As the official spokesman for What the Fluff, I'd like to thank you on their behalf.
Question: if anyone was interested in that, is there a discount code?
Yes, use promo code Puffer at checkout on OpenSea. Definitely get a discount there. But I thought that project was fun. I knew it was a meme. I knew it was going to be short-lived. I actually think they're doing a land drop today. Believe it or not, this is definitely not financial advice.
I don't believe it.
I do have to give them credit. They're the first project to do like 100% AI generated everything. Like, it's clear to everybody that's not a 3D model. It's Midjourney, but people are still buying it. It's preposterous. The whole fucking thing's preposterous. To me, it's just funny and entertaining. So,
well, hey, I love some good fun and entertainment. I hope, I wish the best for them. I just think it's a good thing to change the name for sure. But yeah, what was?
Wait, time out.
Okay,
go ahead. We've had Thor on stage for a while. We got to get to him.
Yeah, for sure.
I was just going to say that while this event has occurred, there was an announcement made in the Altered State Machine Discord. So, the whole question as to when was just answered. And that answer is in 4 days. The new utility for Astra Energy that we've been hinting at will be announced within the upcoming cycle. I guess perhaps not the utility arrives in 4 days, but will be announced in 4 days. So that's
very
good.
Nice.
And in the next mining cycle, the brains went up again. So it was 75,000 in this last cycle, and next cycle it's going to be 95,000.
Very nice. I'll see if they tweeted anything about that and try to pin it. Good shout out.
Wait, I'm a little bit confused by your statement. I see that in the announcement that the mining cycle 4 is going to start in 4 days, and this was well in advance scheduled out. But and obviously that means that the next cycle is, going to start. But what do you mean about hearing more about the additional utility for AE? I don't see that.
So the paragraph starts with beyond that. It's in the same announcement.
Yeah, it's at the very end there. Beyond that, the new utility for Astro Energy we've been hinting at will be announced within this upcoming cycle, giving you more flexibility on what you do with all that precious Astro Energy that you've been generating.
So to me, that reads that cycle ends on April 12th. So it'll be announced by April 12th.
Yeah, I guess.
That's definitely
All right.
That's definitely how it reads, right? I'm not crazy.
Announced within this upcoming
The
cycle.
upcoming cycle being from
Yeah,
February
I
11th to
guess.
April 12th. So by April 12th, we have the announcement. I don't mean to be a party pooper. I'm just trying to read it. But that's still not that far away. It's only 65 days or so. Not too bad. Should we hear from G is for Goose?
Hey everyone. Just a quick one for me, more of a thought experiment than anything else, because I don't think we've had any comms on this just yet. But just as we're getting close to bridging, do you think root assets will have any kind of access to the connected chains, like still have visibility on existing marketplaces? So they're technically on root, but root has a connection to ETH. Would we have some kind of access to ETH marketplaces? That's my question.
Gerry, you want to take a first shot at it?
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling like once you bridge the actual asset, it probably is going to disappear from, say, OpenSea and be held in that bridge that's controlled, on the ETH side by the Futureverse team. So probably not in that direction, but in the white paper, there's talks of state bridging. So you might be able to keep your asset on ETH, but still use it actually, over on root, perhaps, and update the changes of the state and what you're doing in terms of, growing that asset, especially if it's more of a dynamic NFT, like the Next Legends characters, that type of thing. So I don't think you're going to be able to leave it listed on native ETH and actually have it bridged simultaneously. That's my gut feel anyway. But you might find marketplaces like NFT Embed might be a way sort of to bridge those. Maybe there's actually a marketplace that can read both sides of the chain to work out where the asset actually is. That might be a mechanism that moves, you see moving forward, because I know that the Universe team are behind NFT Embed, and they've had a lot of connections with the Futureverse guys in the past.
I think you'll also be able to bridge things like ETH over to root, right? Like if you want to spend ETH on something on the root network, I think that would be a possibility.
I think the longer we don't know the answer to questions like that, the farther we should assume we are away from it actually happening. But yeah, we don't know the answer. That's a great question.
Yeah, I guess a follow-up to that is, and this is well into speculative territory, is what is the marketplace going to look like in the underground or the Third Kingdom? Because I assume it could be something quite similar to what we're used to now, but knowing the team, it's going to be quite gamified and just easy for people to understand and get into, and hard for people to kind of make the devastating kind of mistakes that lead to losing assets and things like that. So that's kind of where my head is going as well. These kind of experiences we take for granted now, and buying and selling assets and using them in different ways in Web3, like how complete of an experience is it going to be? Anyway, that's where my head's at.
Yeah, I was just going to say on that point, I've been thinking a little bit about how that's going to work. Obviously, you've got the on-chain DEX within the root network itself, and I'm sure that that'll be used for more traditional tokens. But for the non-fungible tokens, I'm not sure what the marketplace is going to be. I mean, there's a lot of that tech stack also built natively into the root network, but you would assume there's going to be some nice, pretty interface that we use, whether that's in a meta space type environment as well to gamify it or not, who knows. But one thing that I found very curious was Aaron McDonald jumping on a Twitter space with Uniswap a few months back. when it looked like we were getting closer to the launch of the Root Network around October, November. I just don't think that was a coincidence. And I honestly feel like there's probably some sort of collaboration potentially in the works. And even if it's just a branding mechanism, that would probably legitimize the network a lot with the Ethereum crowd, having a Uniswap actually launch on Root or on perhaps on Otto. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. Maybe that we're actually going to have some well-known protocols aligning with the Futureverse tech stack.
But if you look at the Cortex, I think there's like a built-in Uniswap swapper in there. Although I'm pretty sure most anybody can use that sort of thing, but
anyone can do that.
Yeah, but yeah, just cool to see us utilizing different tools and working across different mediums.
Yeah, let's say they do. The Futureverse does have a suite of partners that are ready to run stuff on the Root network. So, for example, big players such as Uniswap or like a marketplace like OpenSea potentially, or anything else. We don't know that exists, and it very well might not. But if it did exist, they wouldn't tell us. So we can just, I don't know what the default you want to take is, whether you want to assume not and then hope it is, or what. It's up to every different person. But really, until they start telling us the information, we're not going to really know.
I imagine whatever's going to happen, it's going to be pretty seamless and pretty easy. So like, I'm thinking of Uniswap's ability to kind of pathfind the best way to swap tokens, particularly altcoins. If there's the bridge and we wanted to kind of move something back into ETH land for the purpose of a sale or some other kind of DeFi purpose, I imagine it's going to be so seamless you wouldn't even know kind of what's going on in the background. So bridging back to ETH, it's going to use gas of whatever you've got in your wallet, and you in the Root network still you might be able to leverage utility on the various networks without kind of even knowing you're doing it, which is really obvious when we do it now. It's just such a clunky experience to bridge and move things around. But however they're going to do it, I think that's going to be my take, is that whole idea of the tech is going to be under the hood is probably going to nail it. And there's going to be interesting things for us to learn about and understand if users want to. But it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I would say if you make an assumption that the employees working on staff are working at like a fixed rate where they can do X amount per day, and you can't really accelerate that a ton or decelerate it a ton, the longer that they get delayed in launching the Root network, the more functionality the Root network might have at the start. So whenever there are delays, I see it as a good thing, because if the Root network launches, they have a choice. They can launch the Root network in in a different series of points where there's different amounts of functionality. They can potentially wait another 6 months even and just be very far along, and when they launch it have a lot of things ready to go, or maybe they launch it tomorrow and have less things available to go. That's like a choice that they can make, and they have a ton more insight into what that means, because they have all this information that we don't have access to as community members. So it's hard for me or for anyone else that doesn't have privileged information on when the right time is to execute X, Y, or Z.
Somnium.
So
in terms of the privileged mind,
it's a matter of like,
I just can't do it.
Well, I noticed that your trip is lining up at the end of February with potentially when all of these lines are converging for Futureverse. So I'm starting to think that Somnium is the key to everything.
She's got the keys.
You're basically not wrong, you know. I mean,
yeah.
But hey, I will be there for a month, and I'm very excited to have the opportunity to go out there and hang out with the team and meet more of my coworkers and everything, and get some stuff done. So,
you're pushing the button, aren't you, Somnium? You're the one that's pushing the button, making it go live.
You know, I wish, but actually, I don't wish because that would be a lot.
That's a lot of responsibility.
But yeah, I'm excited. Should be a good time.
Are you just going to the North Island, or are you going to have enough time to visit the South Island too?
I'm going to Queenstown as well, so gonna hit that up. Gonna stay with Kiwiana. Shout out to Kiwiana for letting me stay with her.
For anyone in the audience that would like to request a meeting with Somnium during the months of insert date, please send all requests through our official lines. And
there's a if you meet with Somnium, you get a POAP too.
Right, that is correct. And additionally, if you are buying Somnium lunch, there are a suite of restaurants that accept a discount code pufferfish15 for 15% off your meal.
Oh my God, stop. Oh, also shout out to Core. I'm gonna try to go out to his island and check out his dudes out there.
What do you mean his island? He has his own island?
Yeah, Core's got it set up, man. He's got it figured out. Might go check out his island, man.
Wow. One day when I grow up, I want to have my own island, even if it's digital.
You'll get there, Max. I believe in you.
Well,
but yeah, just do some outdoorsy stuff, and
maybe I'll have one in the Third Kingdom. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Is that what's called though? His island, or?
Can I have a private island in the Third Kingdom? Is that a thing?
You know, there's probably some water somewhere.
Boomer.
Islands happen in water.
Boomer, I see you in the crowd. I hope you're listening. Maybe throw an emote if you are. If we can get together and create an island, let's do it.
I'm sure Boomer could help with that. It'll be cool seeing all the community tools that come out that were kind of outlined in the white paper to kind of empower people to build on top of the Third Kingdom and the Root Network. That's something I'm really excited for. Also, Gary, I want to give you the chance to plug your channels, your Patreon, all that sort of stuff, and anything you wanted to plug on that topic.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, sorry, I caught you at a bad time.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
No problem. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, pretty self-explanatory. If you want to support me with my Patreon page or buy me a coffee, they're just in the descriptions of my most recent videos. It certainly helps keep the content coming out. And yeah, if you haven't checked out my channel, maybe just have a look at my profile now and check out my pinned tweet, and you can see all the work that I've done previously.
Yeah, and I think it's important to just emphasize, likes and subscribes are free, so just click those buttons, people, and let's support our community content creators and help them out as much as we can. So appreciate everybody.
Awesome. Sam, are you gonna ask your standard question? Yeah, I don't think you've asked it this week or last week yet.
All right, Gary, what are you most excited about within Futureverse at the moment? And anybody else on the stage after that as well.
Wait, you forgot the part about that he's allowed to talk about. Oh, that doesn't apply here, sorry.
Yeah, probably just the launch of the Root Network itself. And because, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a bit of a sort of a fire hose of stuff just coming out on us once it's up and running and launched and become more public. So it was pretty interesting to see in Aaron's update today in the newsletter saying that they've locked in a launch partner for the Root token. That to me sounds like centralized exchanges. And now that we've got the 17th, this sort of feels like that might be the first day where we can start to get things bridging, or maybe a few days after that announcement. So the last 2 weeks of Feb, I think we'll actually be starting to bridge across our next legend characters and begin their journey. Obviously move across some party bears and fluffs, maybe even the mintage trunks and clothing as well. So it feels like it's, the true beginning of it becoming more public facing. So I just can't wait for that to drop, really.
Retweet to that. I'm excited for that as well.
I thought the launch partner was like Ripple.
By the way, they should give Mo Meta a job. Like,
For real.
he's like one of the best speakers, and he's like, I'm sure he's wearing like an XRP hat right now. Like, they should give him a hat.
Are we sure that he doesn't have a job there?
Hey, I'm still calling out for a t-shirt, man. You get me
Hey,
a
Matt,
free
you
t-shirt.
haven't even gotten a free
I'll work
t-shirt. Sam, didn't you get a free
Wait,
t-shirt?
do you want a Seekers t-shirt? I'll get you one. You don't?
Are they flammable?
Okay, then no, you can't have one.
I'm just messing with you guys. You know that.
Puffer, what are you excited about? IFK?
The Seeker sacrifice. Like, I'm someone who plans to sacrifice to make some goblins. I'm trying to make my final decisions now. I have about 19 voids in the wallet and I'm like I said, I'm making my final decisions. I don't know what to do. I believe I'm going to do a 15 sacrifice because, just like in life, anything worth having comes with sacrifice, right? Whether it's something you want to attain or physical health, you have to sacrifice. This is such a big ask.
Anything in life is worth saving.
What?
I keep seeing a trailer for a movie that's about like sacrificing. Like, is it a new Quentin Tarantino movie? Maybe. Cabin in the Woods. Is that it?
Oh, I've seen some trailers for that. Looks like a good one. Need to watch it.
Maybe that's the new IP. Okay, never mind. I should not throw out random things that come up to the top of my head.
But yeah, the Seeker sacrifice I'm looking forward to. It's quote unquote imminent. So I'm guessing that's in less than 10 days.
Wow, you clearly have not learned what imminent means in this ecosystem.
In crypto terms, like imminent should be like 4 hours. So that should be like soon.
Imminent in this ecosystem is within the next 4 months. Soon is within the next 8 months.
How about this? It's coming.
My free t-shirts. My free t-shirts imminent. Apparently imminent. I'm not holding my breath.
But I think if everything goes to plan, we will see, progress with gods and goblins. We're gonna sacrifice, get some kind of amulet. I'm sure we're gonna see a wave of buzzies soon. What else is coming? There was something else.
Well, I think that something else is the ability to move those boxers and the boxing bags onto the root network.
Right.
That would be cool. I think that's actually the most exciting upcoming thing for me. Though I don't know exactly when, but of things that we think are likely to come relatively soon, I think that's the one I'm most excited for.
Hey, did you guys talk about the next thingy utility?
Well,
ooh, I don't think we did.
What's the next thingy utility?
For those who were in smokers, it was revealed, and they said they could be wrong, but from what I understand, there's going to be an opt-in database where real-life artists can submit their work that then can be used as an art filter for our thingies, where I'm hoping we can just kind of browse through and choose which filter or filters we want to give a little more variety to our artwork.
Yeah, I was there for that. I can confirm that. That's pretty much the gist of what was discussed. Yeah,
I
I
wonder
believe they said the artist can even earn money. Like you submit some art, like I guess whatever, a young and sick. Like you have your own style that people can identify or something, and then you can charge money for people to make art in your style.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to involve the Futureverse Foundation, because I know that they've been trying to, promote underrepresented artists. So that would make a lot of sense. Maybe they even start from that angle rather than getting bigger established artists across to begin with, just to help share the spoils a little bit and get these people onboarded into Web3 and drive another use case for the network.
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Chasing Tails, but one thing she said was, like, as opposed to Mid-Journey where people have to opt out, and here they want people to opt in. Give us, whoever wants to contribute, sign up, send us your artwork. So a different approach.
Well, that's really cool.
That is interesting.
I actually didn't hear about that, so good to know.
Yeah, this is news to me. Though I am a big fan of Smoker's channel because of those new Discord games. I like the putt-putt game. That's a fun one, Sam, right?
When I win, it's fun. It's not so fun when I lose. Looks like Elon Musk is on the dot train. Look at him go. Elon Musk just tweeted a dot 10 minutes ago.
Confirmed. In a sweet FLUF World, the list.
It probably has absolutely nothing to do with us at all, obviously, but yeah, it's just funny.
Hey, he did tweet. What did he tweet? Like a rabbit one day, like several months ago.
He did. Time to spam FLUF Gen.
What's silly? He's so ridiculous to be a crypto lover. It's so weird that he has an actual crypto coin associated with his product. I'm not here to fit it. No, he doesn't run it, but it's hard coded into the Teslas. It's just funny that he works with the crypto coin and doesn't promote them. So but he'll talk about Doge. He's just a funny guy. He wants to. It's like he purposely wants a problem with the SEC. His life is too perfect. I need some kind of drama. Let me poke at the SEC.
He definitely likes to create drama. That's definitely one of his things. I feel like at a certain amount of wealth, extra money doesn't do anything for you. So you got to do what you like, and he likes to create drama.
Does he create it, or does it attract to him as well?
Maybe it's just like a whole self-fulfilling cycle.
Oh, also on the animation competition, the voting will be done internally. So we're gonna have people like Jesse and 3D designers and things like that, like Moritz involved, Core people, kind of on a panel of judges internally. So it'll definitely be a well-balanced competition. So just wanted to throw that out there. I've also pinned that to the top if anybody wants to check it out.
All right, I gotta come.
I also wanted to.
Go ahead, Thor.
I was just going to say that, sometimes, we're having a community spaces and, there are people that attend these spaces that are from the actual team, which is great. That's fantastic. There are some brand new people. That's great. And there are loyalists. And so sometimes we have to kind of balance kind of a tricky path because we do have our own brand names ourselves and we don't want to be putting out FUD or anything like that. We don't want to be putting out too much hype as well. I just thought it would be nice to discuss that the inflation rate of Gen 2 brains is quite high and just kind of have an acknowledgement that is what's going on with Gen 2 brains, and that is according to the plan. It's not shocking, but just kind of a continued reminder to people that are taking the time to attend these spaces. Just understand that, we started at 35, then we went 55, then we went 75. So we currently have 165.
Shouldn't we differentiate between the amount of brains that can be created versus the amount of brains that are actually being created?
Sure, we can. Just 1 second. So we're at 100. I think that's 165, and then we're going to get 95,000 dropped on top of that. So that's more than half. So it's going to go up, I don't know, maybe 60% or so from its already currently very large supply. So it's just kind of a message to be like, yes, Gen 2 brains are quite cheap right now, but they might even continue to get cheaper. So just kind of making sure people know that.
The more you know, the less you don't know.
That's crazy how that works, Max.
I know, right? Yeah. So usually before these shows, I eat dinner, but today I didn't. So I kind of want to end it soon because I'm starving. So just throwing it out there.
Max, I'll leave you with one thought regarding you on a private island. I don't know if you were part of a couple tales of the tier back with the Illyria and Aepha lore creating, but one of the pieces of lore that we half jokingly, half serious were talking about, there's an island on Illyria that we named Whale Island. So there you go.
I only eat plankton, bro. All right. Does anyone have some parting words for us or a last thing that they wanted to discuss? Thank God no one said yes. I am starving over here. Okay, so let's wrap it up. So big thank you to Gerry for coming on as a guest. A big thanks to all our contributors and listeners, and Pufferfish for our weekly top 5 segment. And as per usual, the recording of this episode will be live as soon as the space ends, and we'll be taking next week off because we didn't think we should do a Valentine's themed episode, and we also didn't think that we should be doing a non-Valentine's themed episode on Valentine's. So we'll be off next week, and we'll be back with an exciting guest 2 weeks from now. So hopefully you don't miss us too much, but Asanu and I are regulars in the Discord, so you'll have no problem reaching us. Sam, is that it? Should we play the outro music?
Yes, sir. Bunnies up, everybody. Have a good
Thanks
rest of your
everyone
week.
for coming.
Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up!